Topic 3 that we shall discuss today is a very important topic. If you look the slides, they don't look very kind of globe changing or some revolutionary. They are very ordinary slides. But this topic is the foundation of the modern day capitalism. This is how the decisions, the market mechanism and the decisions are taken in the free market economy. And you as an entrepreneur, you as employees, you'll be working in a system where the free market mechanism is becoming even stronger day by day. No matter how much we raise slogans and we talk about the limitations of the free market system, but the fact is that it's here going to stay. It's not going to go in the next 50 years, at least. You can call my prophecy. The fact is that in the real sense, the markets are getting more and more liberal, more and more. The decisions are getting more and more market determined. The corporate governance, the system, how the companies function, it's getting more and more Americanized. If you look at the European corporate settings and if you compare with the American corporate settings, the one feature which make a distinction between the two used to be that on the one hand in the US or in North America, the markets were ultra liberal. In Europe, because of the welfare state concept, because of the Karl Marx, my guru when I used to be young, not anymore, and all those big social reformers, they have played a very big role in influencing the socio-political and economic scenario of Europe. And that is why it was almost inconceivable that in Europe, the markets would be as free as you can see in the US. And the kind of market, the kind of enterprises. After all, as an entrepreneur, you will not be working on planet Mars. You have to be here. You have to be present here. And the first thing you see outside and inside your company is the market. The market is not affecting you outside of your company. It affects within the company because that's the parameter of taking the decision making. So all the decisions that you take, even in-house, but inside the four walls of your company, they are also based on the market mechanism. All right. And as I said before that, the American system was ultra-liberal. Was, of course, market determined, but very much controlled, very disciplined market, managed market system, not market system, managed market system. But over last 10 years or even more, even the European markets are getting more and more Americanized. So typically the European companies are drifting away managed and are heading more towards the very open and American market system, which the fact that the market system is here going to stay. It's not going to disappear anywhere. That's a basic thought for this topic today. The first thing I want to discuss, when you want to study the market, it's very important to study the one basic law or one basic theory. Once again, it's less of a theory and more of a common sense. And this, the theoretical pillar that you study in economics is called law of demand. Law of demand is very simple. It says that the quantity of a commodity demanded rises with the decrease in price and falls with the increase in price. Ceteris paribus, other things being equal. Now, do you think it's seriously a law? or it's a matter of common sense, that the quantity demanded, what you consume, what you demand, is more when the price falls, and it shrinks when the price rises. Do you have to be a nuclear physicist to know it? It's simple. Other things being equal. But this other things being equal is a very, very, very dangerous area. And that also we shall explore today. All right. If you look at the main 90% of the definition, it's very simple. As the price falls, the quantity demanded increases. And as the price rises, the quantity demanded shrinks, falls, decreases. But then there is a semicolon. It says other things being equal. Okay, so this law is quite simple. For the normal goods, if I have to draw the relationship between price and demand, you'll see that the demand curve is, the relationship is inverse. You know what is inverse? Opposite. How? The price goes up. Let me bring the board here because then it'll be easy to explain. So I try to bring the board on the frame. So I said that there is an inverse relationship between price and demand, yeah? So if I say the price of a marker and demand for the marker, as the price of a marker falls, I can say that the demand is increasing, because when the price falls, there'll be many people who earlier were thinking about using a marker, but they were not able to use it because they thought that the price is too high. So there was a phenomena of suppressed demand or postponed demand. But now when the price falls, they suddenly jump in the fray and they start demanding more of the markers. They say that now we are in a position to do what? To buy the marker. And this effect is called income effect. Income effect is a one important determinant of applicability of the law of demand. And the income effect is that when the price of a commodity falls, your nominal income doesn't change, but your real income changes. Now, what is nominal income and what is real income? The nominal income is the monetary income in your wallet, the notes, the card, whatever it has a credit balance. That is your nominal income. When you are having 20 euro budget in your wallet, you know, the amount that, hey, I'm not going to spend more than 20 euros. I don't have more than 20 euros. And that's I'm going to use for next 3, 4, 5 days. And then you find what? The price falls from 5 to 4. And guess what happens? Your 20 euros become bigger. Their purchasing power goes up. This is called real income. Your nominal income, nominal mean the monetary unit. If I have a simple example of a paper note, that is same. That doesn't change. Your nominal income remains same, but what happens is that your real income means the purchasing power, how capable, how valuable your monetary income is to buy something. I think we discussed yesterday, yeah? That double the money, double the price, half the value. This half the value is called real income. All right? So what happens is that when the price of something falls, when something's price falls, then your purchasing power goes up, and hence you are able to consume it more. And that is why when the price falls, the consumption goes up. Opposite, when the price goes up, your nominal income is same, yeah? But your capacity to buy, the buying capacity of the money which you have in your wallet squeezes, and you are able to buy less despite the nominal income is same. Isn't? Yeah. And the second effect is called substitution effect. The substitution effect is that when the price of something increases, why demand rises? When the price of something increases, yeah, I said opposite. When the price of something increases, why this something's demand decreases? Because this something has a substitute. If the, let's say, I don't see, it's not a good example. If I want, just imagine that I don't have any special liking for tea or coffee. When I wake up, I want to have tea or coffee, it doesn't matter. Let's assume for the sake of simplicity. So you don't have any strict preference. When the price of tea increases, what happens? You find that, hey, what tea is getting expensive. What should I do? Well, coffee is not expensive yet. Then the people who buy tea, they start migrating to coffee side. And what happens? The demand for tea shrinks because the price is more. Unless you have a strong addiction for tea, like I do. And that's why I said other things being equal. So if you are addicted, then it doesn't matter. But the point I'm trying to make here is that if you have two alternatives and one of them become expensive, then you know that I know this product is not a perfect substitute, but I can live with it. I can live with it. I can use it as a substitute. And as a result, people start moving away from the expensive products towards the less expensive product. This is called substitution effect. So there are two effects, the two reasons why. Now it's very common sense. Price goes up, demand goes down. Price goes down, demand goes up. But if you bifurcate it, if you decompose this effect, you will find that this behavior of yours is because of two important phenomena. And the first is income effect, which means when the price goes up, your buying capacity shrinks. So your real income goes down, even though your nominal income, which means a monetary income, is same. And when the price goes down, then your buying capacity, your purchasing power goes up, despite the nominal income is same. And secondly, when a commodity's price increases and that commodity has a substitute, people start moving away towards that substitute. And resultantly, the demand for the expensive product goes down. Okay. So I use the word inverse, yeah? When you see this table, this is law of demand. Law of demand is over, by the way, here. When you see this relationship, can I say that there is an inverse relationship between price and demand? Can I say this? Do you agree with this? So one increases, other decreases. So when one increases, oh, no, I said opposite. When one,
You had your feet for today.
sorry?
Have you had your feet for today?
No. It's so obvious. So when one decreases, the other basically increases, yeah? And when one decreases, no? Okay, all right. But you got the idea, yeah? You got the idea. Is it so? That when one increases, the other goes down, and opposite. That's the whole idea. So if I draw this line here, if I say this is price and demand, so the curve is like this. When price is up, demand is low. So when price is 5, let's say, demand is 30. When price is 4, demand goes to 40. When price is even less 3, demand goes to 50. So this is the basics of law of demand. We shall explore it more, but this is a very introductory part. But yes, you have a question.
Yeah. I think it will not always inverse, because when the price reach a peak, demand will not change anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But at some stage, remember we are studying microeconomics, yeah? In the microeconomics, we are studying one individual or one company at a time. But when you see all the consumers, the whole society, the whole economy, and over a time period, yes, then in that case, you are right. But I want to start from very fundamental discussion that for one person, for one particular time, there is an inverse relationship between price and demand. Can I ask you one thing? Listen my statement now very carefully. There is an inverse relationship between price and demand. Sentence 1, sentence 2. There is an inverse relationship between demand and price. Are the same. First I say, there is an inverse relationship between price and demand. And I hope that most of you agree with me here, that when the price decreases, demand increases, yeah? And when price increases, demand decreases. And this becomes very obvious when I draw this very classic picture of art, that there is a more price, less demand, less price, and more demand. So there is an inverse relationship between price and demand. Why I say price and demand here? Because price is a ignition point and demand is a consequence. But now I say there is an inverse relationship between demand and price. Am I still right? If I'm not, then why not? If I'm not right, then why not? It has nothing to do with the fact that I haven't had tea today. Say wrong, it doesn't matter, but say something. It's very important that you say something. Yes, Kati, you want to say? No, you are Kati. Yes, yes. You want to say? You can say. Anyone. Whosoever is Kati. Okay, all right. Excellent, excellent. This is a very good point. When I say price and demand, price is the point of ignition and demand is the explosion. But when I say demand and price, demand is a point of ignition and price is the explosion. So demand is a cause, price is an effect. When you are supplying something, when you are manufacturing something, and the product or the service which you provide or supply or sell, the demand goes up. You get very happy. And what you do? You increase the price. Hey, make hay while the sun shines. This is the high time to get more price because people are really liking your product. And that's where you push the price up. And when people demand less of your products and services, and you want to survive, then you want to give some kind of offer to them that, hey, what should I do? Let's try to decrease the price and let's see people still demand it. So see the difference. In that case, when demand goes up, the price goes up. When demand goes down, the price goes down. So in that case, when I say the relationship between demand and price is not inverse. It's a direct relationship, direct positive relationship. Positive means when one increases, the other increases. When one decreases, the other decreases. But here, the relationship is inverse or negative. Negative means when price goes up, demand goes down, right? And what is plus times minus? Minus. And when price goes down, demand goes up. What is minus times plus? Minus. So the relationship remains negative or inverse. But when I say demand and price, then cause is demand and the effect is price. Demand goes up, price goes up. Demand goes down, price goes down. Plus, 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 minus, minus, plus. So here, in that case, if I take demand here and price here, then the relationship will be positive. More demand, more price, less demand, less price. So it's very important for you. Imagine I gave you this question in the exam that explained the law of demand, and everything is fine, and you say that the relationship between demand and price is inverse. I will be in a big fix. And most likely, I will not give you the benefit of doubt. Because when the first statement is wrong, then I'll be a little bit skeptic to check the rest, even though it's fine. But so be careful that who is the point of ignition and who is the point of explosion. Who is cause, who is consequence. It's very important. So always say price and demand. Never say demand and price. Okay? So you agree that the relationship between the price and demand has two components. So if you bifurcate, if you decompose it, if you break it down, this relationship of inverse relationship is because of the income effect and the substitution effect. Okay. Yes. And that is also reflected here. Once more, we add to your, once again, I add to your vocabulary in economics. We use the phrase schedule if we show something, some relationship in the form of a table. A tabular expression of a phenomena is often referred as schedule. So I'll call it individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. Now here, imagine a very simplified economy. There are only two people living in the society. One is Kate and the other is Simon. Do we have Kate and Simon here? You're Kate. So we observe their behavior, and there are five different prices. And what happens is that as the price goes up, Kate's demand for that product is going down, right? For two reasons. First of all, Kate's real income is going down. So she is not able to afford the same amount of quantity which she could before. And secondly, Kate finds some substitute. So why should she buy expensive? And then we also have Simon's demand schedule. Okay. Maybe Simon is not as rich as Kate is, so at a given price, Simon's demand is less. Okay. And then we have the market demand schedule. So if we have 2, 3, 4, 5, so for example, if we have several people in the society, in the economy, and we add up, so it's like 20 plus 16 plus something plus something plus something. Let's say for the whole society, the demand is 700 when the price is 20. And then when the price goes down, or rather up, Kate, Simon, and so the other people, they also have less demand, and aggregate demand goes down and down and down. So this is called the individual and the market demand schedule. Okay. And if I want to show it graphically, then the curve looks like this, which I drew here, that as the price goes down, the market demand is going up. You can also make the demand curve for individuals as well. So I can have a separate demand curve for Kate, for Simon, whosoever, right? Or I can have a combined demand curve for the entire economy. So in that case, I would be taking at 20, I would take 700. You can see A point here at 40. I hope you can see here. When it's 40, no, it's not reflective. Then market demand is 500, you can see here. So we can have different combinations of the market demand at the various prices. So this is called the market demand schedule. Market demand schedule is very important for businesses, for the governments, because they have to put taxes. They make a decision to tax or not to tax. Okay. If the market demand is shrinking, then the state can give you some subsidies. Okay. For example, the oil price goes up. The OPEC countries, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, they increase the price. And imagine that Finland is importing a big chunk of oil from these countries. All right. And when the market price goes up, Finland has to go more money to Saudi Arabia, for example. The oil tankers come. And if the same increase in price is taken from the consumers, consumers would be very angry. So what state would do? They would either subsidize it. So all this increase in price, the state bears it, and there's no effect on the consumers, or they share it partially. It means that the price which you pay for the gasoline, the actual price is less than what could be the real price. Okay, imagine the state is not giving you any subsidy, then the price can go up a lot. And the state is very clever. When the price goes down, they never reduce the price, because they were giving you an extra shield when the price went up. So the state went into losses. And when the price goes down, they never decrease the price, because now they want to recover that losses. So why not? So that's why the concept of subsidies and taxation comes in the picture. The market demand is very important. Whenever you make some market plan or market analysis, you always look at the demand. That what is the market demand? What can I make some changes in the prices? And if I make a change in the prices, how consumers would react? This 700, 500, 350, 200, 100, these are consumers' reaction to the increase in price. Consumers' reactions as a group, as a whole, as a totality. So this is the economic reaction of consumers. Determinants of demand is very important. The first determinant is very obvious, we discussed, and that is price. Okay, so you have seen that price is the predominant factor of change in demand. But remember, I also used a phrase, ceteris paribus. And what was that? Other things being equal, no change in the other things. From point 2 to point 9 are other things. And remember, these are not only 9 things, they could be hundreds. Of course, I can't cover all of them, but broadly speaking, from point 2 to point 9, these are the other things, which in the real life are not always constant, are not always same. The first thing which can come in conflict with the law of demand is taste. If you have developed a taste for something, let's say a taste or a habit, and you become used to of it, then your consumption pattern is regardless of the price changes. Here I'm trying to revise the example which I gave before about coffee and tea. But imagine if I'm a tea addict. All right. First of all, coffee is not a substitute anymore to me, because tea is tea. And secondly, the price will not affect me so much, because I will not be, I will take money away from some other essential things, but I will definitely consume tea because I'm addict of tea. Tea addict. Is anyone of you tea addict or coffee addict? You tea or coffee? Coffee. Tea. Tea addict. We have the majority, yeah? So when this addiction part, when you have a very strong taste or strong dislike, same way, if you have a strong dislike for something, you have no taste. And the price, somebody's offering you that product at a very low price, you will not buy it. There are many things which I don't want to eat, and even if I get free, I will never consume them, let alone low price. Why should I? Because I haven't got the taste of those products. So taste plays an important role. Now here, taste in a way challenges the law of demand, isn't it? What we say, that as price goes down, demand goes up. But if taste comes in between, then even if price goes down and you have no taste for it, demand will not pick up. On the contrary, if price goes up, demand will not shrink because you have a strong taste for it. So when this taste element or the habit element comes, then the other thing is not equal, right? The number and price of substitute goods. Imagine the two products. The one product's name is A, and this product has no substitute at all. And the price increases. The price of A increases. There'll be no substitution effect. Well, it can be that people consume it less because of increase in price, but only because of income effect, because you don't have enough money to buy it, right? But there is no substitute to it. So with the increase in price, demand will shrink, but not so much. Why not so much? Because this product A has no substitute. And look at some other product. Let's call it B. B has several substitutes. And the price of B goes up. What happens? You just disperse, just run away from B, and because of so many substitutes available then. So in this case, with the same increase in price from 4 to 5 euros, demand for B would shrink more than the demand for A, because product B has several substitutes. And because of that, people will just run away from B. Whereas going away from A is not possible because there is no substitute of A. You get my point? I would say that to be realistically speaking, it's almost impossible to get 100% substitutes, but you can get the close substitutes. When I talk about the product, now it's very important for you to listen to this sentence. When I talk about the products, mobile phone, the close substitute could be what? But when I talk about the models within the mobile phone, and the one model is becoming very expensive, then you can immediately go elsewhere because there are many other models having the same services, same add-on features, and everything is same. So then the law of substitution works. But I would say that in the products, even though two products could be seemingly substitute, but normally they're never 100% substitute. Some degree of substitutability is possible. For example, in many Asian countries, there's more population, but less capital skills. So over there, the production methods are more labor intensive. Whereas in Europe and America, there is less labor and more of capital, and the techniques are more capital intensive. But people produce furniture in Asia and also in America. But in America, the same product is capital intensive. In Asia, it could be more labor intensive. But can we say that labor and capital are perfect substitutes? No, they are substitute, because that's why you're using labor intensive techniques in Asia and capital intensive techniques in Europe or America. But they're not fully replaceable. So I would say it's difficult to say what percentage, but they're definitely not 100% substitutes. That's for sure. And that is why, remember the PPC, the production possibility curve, last chapter. That is why the production possibility curve was like this. If factors, labor, capital were perfectly substitute, then your production possibility curve would have been like this. Okay, so that's where the substitutability. It's not a very easy phenomena to discuss or to explain. But I would say that within a product, the brands, the model, when you want to go for when you want to buy some cars, okay, car is a product, yeah, automobile. But within the cars, there are more models. They could be substitutes. If one model is getting very expensive, and you say, why should I buy it? Come on, I have the same services. Everything is same. I can buy another model. So within the product, the element, the effect of substitutability is much stronger than between the products. Similarly, the number and the price. I didn't mention the price of substitute. If the price of tea is going up, but at the same time, the price of coffee is stable. I'm not saying the price of coffee is going down. No, I'm saying the price of coffee is stable, same as before. What happens? In comparative sense, coffee is cheaper now, isn't it? Do you get the point? Price of tea is 5. But at that time, when price of tea was €5, the price of coffee was, let's say, 6. So in absolute sense, coffee was more expensive than tea. But what happened is that now price of tea jumps to 7. The price of coffee is still 6. The price of coffee in absolute sense has not changed in absolute sense, but in comparative sense, coffee is relatively cheaper now, isn't it? Do you agree with me? Because when you find the ratio of price of tea, here, price tea to coffee, it's 0.83 coefficient, 5 divided by 6. But now when you divide 7 by 6, it is more than 1. So I can say that relatively, tea is relatively and absolutely expensive than before. Coffee, absolutely no change, but relatively has become cheaper. So when not only you have substitute of tea as a coffee, but also coffee is comparatively, relatively cheaper, then definitely law of demand would be very strong. Because now you not only have a substitute of tea, which is coffee, but coffee is also comparatively cheaper. So when, now imagine when the price of tea goes up and you want to migrate towards coffee, and coffee is also expensive, then you're between, how to say, between rock and deep valley, is a phrase. Rock and hard place, rock and a hard rock. So you are in a situation when you have a substitute, but it doesn't work because substitute has also become more expensive, and then you come back again to tea and you are like fiddling between tea and coffee. So there is no, it's like a rolling stone. Yeah. Next point is this point clear? The number and the price of substitutes. The next one is the number and price of complementary goods. Complementary goods. What is complementary good? Any idea? Hmm? Hmm?
The good which is, for example, say tea and sugar. So sugar is a complementary good which is served with tea.
But I never take sugar with tea.
We take common example.
Mm-hmm.
We don't go special.
Mm-hmm. Well, how many people don't have sugar with tea?
I do.
Okay. No, you're right. I'm just trying to. No. All right. You're right. So you're right. We demand certain things as a combination, because if you take one thing, it doesn't work. When you buy an automobile, you are prepared to buy the gasoline as well. So if there is a less demand of automobiles, if there's a less price of automobiles, hopefully demand of automobiles will pick up. Now, obviously, you need more gasoline to run it, so that by default, the demand for gasoline will go up, even though gasoline has not become cheaper. Do you get the point? That is called complementary products. That sometimes when you buy one thing, to make it more functional, you buy another thing automatically by default. Can you find some more examples of complementary goods before we discuss the phenomena? Sugar and tea, sugar and coffee, yes, of course. Milk, you can also add milk, for example, because when people consume more coffee or more tea, then maybe they also add more milk to it. Isn't? Automobile and gasoline is one example of complementary goods. Yeah. Bicycle and the lock. Okay. Yes. So if we assume that there's no inbuilt lock in the bike, and the demand for bikes increases, the bicycles, then obviously the people who manufacture locks, they will make more locks, because after all, you have to keep it safe. Sorry? Cash? Buy what? Cats.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So does it mean all the things which go together with the points?
Yeah, for example, if you buy more pets, then the pet food is also, you have to feed them after all, unless you are very cruel. So if you buy some pets, obviously you buy the clothes, their medicines, their other things also, accessories and everything. So that all increases. You also buy there's a section in every store about the pet food, the cat food and the dog food. So that also increases. It's a good example of complementary goods. Very right. Yes. Anything else? Any more example of complementary goods? Washing machine and chemicals, the detergents or the cleaners. Yes, you're right. That's true, because if the consumption of washing machine goes up, then obviously you have to add some detergents or the chemicals to it. Anything else? Phones, and yeah, that can also be referred as complement. So you know the phenomenon of complementary goods, that when you demand one, then either you are compelled to demand another one. In case of automobile, there is no escape. But in your case, for example, this screen protector, whatever you call it, is a choice. You know, if you know that, hey, I don't need it, so you don't need it. But yes, there will be a demand pickup, if not so much, but some demand. Some demand for the screen protector will go up. Like in case of locks, you said that when you buy more bicycles, the locks will also be consumed more. Yeah. So anyways, when the price of automobile goes down, then the demand for automobiles goes up, and the demand for gasoline goes up, even though gasoline has not become cheaper. Is it so? And when the price of bicycle increases, demand for bicycles will decrease and demand for locks will go down, even though locks have not become expensive. Look at the phenomena. Demand for locks has gone down, even though there's no increase in the price of locks. This locks phenomena is talking about the other things are not equal. Some things demand has gone down without its increase in price. Locks demand goes down, even though locks price has not increased. Demand for gasoline has gone up, even though price of gasoline has not decreased. This is called an exception to the law of demand. These all are exceptions, isn't it? You demand something even more. You demand same amount even though price has gone up because you are so addicted to it. And the price has gone down and there's no increase in consumption because you don't like it. These all are exceptions or contrary statements to the law of demand. And that's why I said that these other things being equal is a very, very heroic assumption. It's a very lofty assumption. It doesn't exist in the real life. Income, for example. Something becomes expensive, but your income level has gone up already. Yeah? Something's price has gone up, but you have become much richer than before. So will the law of demand be valid here? Will the law of demand apply? You know, this phenomena, this behavior is less in Finland, but in many countries, when you are, the kind of stores you shop at is reflecting your economic and social status. Some rich people, they will buy the same thing, but they will go to some posh store. Posh means it's more expensive. That shows that they are buying same amount or more amount, even though the price of the same thing is much higher than it could have been bought at a cheaper store. When I was in the UK, there was a store called Poundland or 99 pence. Everything is £1. Everything is £1. Whereas if you go to some other Christie's, there was a Christie's 99. So if you go to Christie's, you will get everything for 99 pence, sorry. But if you go to Poundland, everything is £1. You can have a big box of chocolates, £1. But if you buy the same box in for example, W.H. Smith or Marks and Spencer or in Morrison's, it's much more expensive. But then the question is, who goes to Poundland? People just go to Poundland, they buy the store and cover their face and just come out. Nobody, the neighbors must not see them. Come on, hey, you buy this chocolate from Poundland. I will never eat it. So it's like a social status. We have a phrase called to keep with Joneses, you know, keep up with Joneses. If you live in America, in New York, and you live in a area where Jones live, Jones are very rich people. So you have to live like them. Otherwise, Jones would never invite you. So you want, even though your resources don't allow you to live like Joneses, but you will live like Joneses by even borrowing money. Because otherwise you are socially outcasted by people. So, and then this is called demonstration effect, display effect. So when you come in a high income bracket, then you deliberately buy things more expensive so that you can flaunt, you can show off. Yeah. Yeah. If your friends say that I bought this mobile phone for 500 euros, you will definitely say at least more than 500 euros. Because why should you say that? I don't buy cheap things. As I said, fortunately, this behavior is less prevalent in Finland. Even among youngsters, I have not noticed it much. But in many countries, this show-off phenomena, this displaying things, is very strong. I mean, when you say that I bought this dress cheaper, Maybe you're losing a friend. They will not talk to you. Oh, no, we don't talk to those people. They're very posh. Keep with Joneses. It's very dangerous. You want to say something?
No, you said it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel that as long as you have enough to live, let's say I make 2,500 euros. I live in normal house, I do normal stuff.
Mhm.
But when I do 5,000, I just have a bigger loan of the bigger house. I'm still as broke
Mhm.
as I was with 2,500.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yeah. We always sometimes we think that when our income will go up, our savings will also increase. But no, our expenditures also increase so much than before. Now you're students, you may not have so much of money, your own earnings, you're doing some part-time job, or maybe you don't do that at all. And you think that you are living in you're contented with your lifestyle, right? And you think that, hey, if I continue my lifestyle like this, when I start earning, I have a lot of savings. But that will not be true. Once you get a job and you start getting your money, you will see how your demands, wants are unlimited. Remember yesterday? Distribution of income. Distribution of income. This is more like a macro point, broad point. And this underlines that in a country or in a society where the gap between rich and poor is huge, rich are very rich, the poor are very poor, the aggregate demand is less. The total demand is less. On the contrary, the societies where the gaps between rich and poor is not so much. When the gap between rich and poor is not so much, it means that there's a very big chunk of middle class. The aggregate demand is, or the market demand, which I showed you before, this market demand is more. Reasons. If you decrease the price, the rich will not be so much incentivized, because if they have to buy, they will buy. And if you decrease the price for a poor person, for him or her, that product is already very expensive, because that's why he's poor, because he's not able to afford it. If you slash the price of BMW and ask a poor person that, hey, now the BMW has become cheaper, will you buy it? He would say, for me, it doesn't matter, because that was beyond my reach anyways. But the middle income people, they are more. And where do you have more middle class society? Where the gaps between rich and poor are comparatively lesser. Does it make sense? Because they are the people who are more sensitive to the price. Rich don't get bothered by increase in price. The poor people, you can't motivate them to buy by slashing the price, because for them, they have very less income already. And all that income is already allocated to the essential products, the food, clothing, shelter, and they still can't manage it. So let alone buying some expensive car or for that matter, any car. But these are the middle class people who are more sensitive to the price changes. Example, if I see many multinational companies going to India nowadays, almost every multinational company is desperate to go to India, because India has a huge number of middle class people. There are very rich people and there are a huge number of poor people, but because the size of the population is so big that the middle income people can be aggregate of the population of many European countries altogether, or even beyond that. It's so big. So these are the people who you can allure with the decrease in price. So the things could be beyond their reach, but when you lower the price, then they start thinking of buying it. Hey, this product was beyond my means straight away. But now, because the price has gone down, and for the last 10 years, we have become richer, all right, now I can think. For example, Bilal, the automobiles. I mean, when I was young, I will not see so many automobiles in, but now the same kind of people who were earlier, for them buying an automobile was a dream. And now when I see them having 2-3 cars in their garage, I get shocked. Because not only that they have become richer than before, but the relatively comparative price of automobile has gone down in India. So the countries where the gap between rich and poor shrinks, there is a larger chunk of the middle income people. And they are the people who are the most price sensitive. They run away from expensive products immediately, but they start gathering, mobbing towards the product which become cheaper. So distribution of income and wealth is very crucial. The next point is expectation of a future price changes. If suddenly you start to know, let's say you are thinking about buying a house, yeah? And you get the impression, very strong impression, that in the very near future, the housing prices will go up. What will you do? What will you try to do, at least? Hurry to buy the house. When you hurry to buy the house, then I will also hurry to buy the house, because I have the same feeling, because that's the popular news in the media, that the housing prices are quite likely to go up. All right. So people are expecting the price to go up. What happened then? You start to buy the house, trying to buy the house. I do it, and many people start doing it. What happens? This expectation becomes a reality right now. So if we have not shown our panic behavior, maybe that expectation would have never met. But the fact that we are behaving in a very panic-stricken manner, hey, buy it now, before it rises, the expectation becomes a reality in no time. This is the magic of market mechanism, the capitalism. I think I mentioned that in politics and in economics and finance, the signals are more important than substance, because you can convert a signal to substance very easily if you are smart enough. Population, yes, as the population increases, there's more demand of people by the people, because people demand them. Less population countries, there's less aggregate demand. Technology also makes changes. Technology not only gives you more product range, which means more substitutes, more designs, more models, better products, longer lasting product, but at the same time, cheaper products. When I compare the mobile phones, when I was young, right, the absolute price of mobile phone in India was cheaper than what now. But the comparative price, if you see the income, the call used to be very expensive. Making a call was very expensive. Now it's almost free. And WhatsApp and all these things have made everything free, basically. I was in UK when I came to know about Skype. Hey, there is something called Skype also. You can see the person, and they say, what is a per minute call charges? I said, no call charges. Come on. You not only talk to the person, but you can also see. Until I saw it, for me, it was like a no. You are joking. It's not possible. Right? So the technology makes things much. I think because most of you are born in either late 90s or early 2000, you don't know the feeling which I'm trying to say. It used to be a very distant dream. I mean, I know in India, calling from my home city to another city, you have to book a call at the telephone exchange. You can't just dial straight away. Goodness gracious me. And now when you compare this thing, and the call used to be bloody expensive. Now you have better products, better product range, models, services. I mean, if you have a mobile phone in your pocket, you need no other gadget in your life. The whole life, everything, your bank, your insurance, your data, your files, your contacts, your everything is in this small piece. So technology makes the things go up, the demand level.